With November 2025 here, we realized that we've been running Elementive now for 11 years. We started this in 2014, in November 2014. And over the last 11 years, we've had the opportunity to work with so many clients and help out so many people, which has been fantastic. But one thing that we know is that all the people we've worked with have had questions about us and where we've come from. And while we have some of that information out on our website and LinkedIn pages, we probably haven't done as great a job answering all the questions about us that people might have. So we figured we'd take a few to chat through some questions about who we are, where we came from, how Elementive has evolved, why we started Elementive, and other related questions. So, Andrea, I'll pass it to you to start us off here. Tell us about your background and how you got started and where you came from and how you got into SEO.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been a journey. There's no doubt about that, which every professional experiences. But I really started as a more general marketing professional years ago, and my very first like real professional experience, I would call it, was working in Parks and Recreation. I worked for a park and recreation district and was in charge of their marketing. And at that time, marketing was always in charge of everything online. So websites, registration, business listings were a big thing at that time in order to kind of really have an online presence. And so it was under my domain to do a website redesign, to build an online registration system for people to be able to sign up for courses and things like that. And that is what really kickstarted me into web web marketing, and then kind of over years of working in different marketing roles, moving more into the search space and how you show up online and making sure that you're showing up in Google and different search engines at the time. Bing was still important. Yahoo may have been around. And so making sure that, your online presence was there, which were really the fundamentals of SEO at the time.
Yeah.
And
When
that's where I started.
Yeah. When did you start becoming more technical? Because I know you started more as a general marketer. I think some people are surprised how technical you are. We've had that misperception. Um, and yet you are incredibly technical. When would you say that started for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was probably that very first job, because the website, I had to write all the HTML code in order for pages to be created, and I had to understand how to do titles and all of that. So even at that time, I don't think I even realized how technical I was being, because that's just how the website had to be built. And so it started there, but then, really evolved over all the different positions and jobs that I held, where I became responsible for the technical fundamentals of sites. I would say, realistically, what really dove deep then is when you and I started to work together. And some of the projects that we worked on when I was your client and you were my consultant. So,
Mhm.
but before we get into that, tell me about what got you started and where did you start in all of this?
Yeah. So I started in college running just kind of as a side job doing what was then kind of referred to as just general webmaster support. Um, and general webmaster support then meant basically just doing anything you could to kind of keep the website going. So, um, to really date myself, this was long before WordPress or content management systems existed. So it was a lot of writing basic HTML, writing CSS code by hand, um, to just kind of get websites up and really manage them. I got really into more the technical side of things, and then um, yeah, so then I got more into doing like web development and stuff. My original plan was to go to law school and just kind of do webmaster as a way to pay the bills and help with some things through that, but it wasn't really meant to be a real job. And then I realized it's a ton of fun, and it was really interesting. So I got more and more into the technical side of things and really started doing more web development, more true like consulting on the technical side of how websites are structured. That's where you and I ended up meeting. And then I think I kind of had the opposite realization you did of I started more as a technical person and then kind of realized, oh, what I'm doing is marketing, where you kind of went from marketing to tech. I went the other direction. Um, and I think somewhere, along the way, I realized, oh, what I'm doing is actually marketing. And in particular, what I'm doing is SEO. Because I think so much of the misperception I had about SEO early on was that it was just about building links or dropping in keywords. Like, no, there's actually a lot more to it. And I think through, the more I did work and the more I saw the impact of, oh, I improved these things technically, developed something different, build something in a different way, had a deeper appreciation for how that's actually going to affect, some kind of outcome and improve, rankings and help traffic and help conversions and help usability on sites. So, yeah, that's kind of been my evolution.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting because you're absolutely right. Like, we both fundamentally actually had, you're a developer and we're much deeper than I was. Like, I did the basic HTML and CSS fixes and all of that to make sites work, kind of similar role in that webmaster space. Whereas your expertise got even deeper into the technical development work over the years. But even as outside of all of that, it is interesting that we both kind of came to this place through understanding the technical components as well as understanding the importance of the marketing component and how those two things go hand in hand in order to really create a robust online presence for your business.
Yeah. And you
And
and I were both kind of on that forefront of through the 2010s. That's when technical SEO started to become a term. I remember the term technical marketing
mhm.
was around for a few years, then it faded out pretty quickly. Um, but yeah, we kind of were on we were kind of the ones doing that kind of stuff before it was really clear that, oh, that actually is a discipline unto itself.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think we got even deeper into that when we ended up connecting.
Mhm.
And so we have worked together since 2010. And it's when I started a new position at a nonprofit here in the Denver metro area. And you were the primary web developer for a
Mhm.
pretty big project at the time of rebuilding a website as well as building an e-commerce platform. And while some of that work had just very minutely started, it was when I came in and then we started working together that kind of everything exploded. And we did some really big projects together.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the biggest you and I had ever done up to that point um, in our careers, and dove into a lot of tough technical problems. And what was fun about it was, well, fun in retrospect. I think maybe a little stressful at the moment, but a few years later, I can look back and say it was fun. But we got to cover a lot of ground, and that to me is still the exciting part of what we do. Is that okay? You're specifically doing this thing, you're fixing this technical thing, but it affects so many things, and we got to see those ripples. It affects SEO and how things show up there, and that's great. It affects conversions, it affects engagement, it affects brand loyalty and reputation. It affects how people, actually are thinking about the business and actually able to do something. And seeing those different ripple effects, I think, is what kind of got us excited. Is that you and I we're just naturally not people who are interested in a single goal. Like, we're fine with that. We can help a client achieve a specific goal, and we've done that. But we like seeing the broader sweep of things and being able to affect multiple goals at the same time, um, which I think is something that we've always had, but we saw that really clearly as part of um, working together on that project. And I think that's some of what kind of led us to, well, that was fun. That's interesting. Can we do more like that and kind of help, other people, accomplish that same kind of multidisciplinary approach to solving technical problems?
And let's be honest, you saw it certainly before I did. So we worked together for 4 years in that kind of client consultant relationship. And did get to, over the duration of that time, just work on some really cool projects that taught us a lot. Um, but then kind of in 2014, I was looking for a change. I knew that it was time for me to move on and to kind of have a new challenge. So I remember calling you and saying, hey, would you mind being a reference for me? And you were like, yeah, of course I will. That's totally fine. And then a few days later, you kind of sent me a little cryptic message, or I don't remember how it came up, but you were like, hey, could we like talk this weekend maybe? Um, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
and
talked you into self-employment and
yeah,
forget
exactly.
having a job with a salary and benefits. Like let's,
Right.
run a business together. Um, and now you won't look back on a different direction. But
Right.
um, yeah, I mean, and it was because I think what I recognized then and still recognize now is that you and I work really well together. The way we see problems, and we're able to kind of what's I think interesting about our dynamic is that we complement each other in many respects. But and this is still true today, 15 years later, working together, we very much see problems differently. And it's interesting how, that works. And so I think that has been a very productive dynamic that has helped us kind of move through projects more effectively together. And I mean, it is kind of one of those situations where the sum is greater than the whole of its parts, or the however
Yeah.
that phrase goes that I just butchered. Um, yeah, that I think there is that value that we've been able to improve over the last 11 years doing this work.
Yeah, you're totally right. And it is, it's true. Like we just think differently enough that when we approach a problem, I kind of come with my angle, you come with yours, and then the combination of those two things is what kind of leads us to an even better outcome in the recommendation for a technical fix, and thinking through what are all of the potential issues or opportunities within this, and how do we really capitalize on all of that in the benefit of um, kind of improving those technical foundations for clients. So that has been where it is. And as a testament to that, we are approaching now at this point 14 years, 15 years of working
15
together.
years.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, 15 years. Let's get that math right.
Right.
I can do math. 15 years of working together and 11 years of being in business together.
Right. Um, but I think the other thing that this kind of relates to for me is one of the questions we've heard from clients a lot is, what do you do? What do I do? What's the line of separation between the two? There's no line of separation. The truth of the matter is that we both do functionally the same stuff. There isn't a dividing line of, oh, you do this, I do this. I guess there are some specific tasks that maybe I gravitate more naturally to, or you do, but on the whole, when we're working on a project for a client, we do the same stuff. And it is how we kind of position it and see it is not that you do this and I do this. It's we're both doing the same thing, but the idea is that by doing the same thing, we're kind of taking two different approaches to come to a problem, and able to offer clients something better as a result of that than either of us could alone. And so that's where I think that surprised clients, though, is that they assume that you must do certain things, I must do other things. And I think, it really is important to underscore that we do actually do the same thing. We are kind of working jointly on every project that we do.
And even within that, we're both, yeah, doing the same things. And then also always going over the work we do individually together to make
Yes.
sure that we make it the best that we can. And so your our clients are always getting both of our perspectives in everything that we end up delivering, because we have taken the time to work on it collaboratively, because that is where we know we bring really the most value,
Right.
when our two brains start working together, and then we come up with the solutions that work. And so you're absolutely right. There isn't a difference. I would say probably one of the differences is that you're more front and center from a you
Yeah.
have written books and you record a lot of videos and you write a lot of LinkedIn posts. And I'm so grateful that you're the one who has been willing to step up and do that. And probably where the difference then comes in is that I do more of our kind of day-to-day business operational sort of things, the books, the taxes, the boring stuff. And that is a place where we've figured out, yep, we're going to kind of divide and conquer in the best way possible, to support
Yeah.
our business and who we are and what we do.
Yeah, and even on that, I mean, I am the one, that's lack of a better way, kind of the face of Elementive, and I am talking head, which is somewhat personality and somewhat just kind of where time has allowed over the years. I think it's also though that while I'm the one who's doing it, you are very much involved in the scripts for videos and reviewing LinkedIn posts and those LinkedIn posts that I write and blog posts I've written and anything else. I mean, it's a result of conversations we've had, and things that we've collaborated on together. So I wouldn't, say that it's a solo effort on my part. It definitely is, very collaborative. I just happen to be the one who's probably getting more of the public facing credit for it.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But yes, and it just gets to, we do this all day. We talk to each other and we bounce ideas around and we wrestle with complex topics on
Mhm.
behalf of clients, sometimes on behalf of our own meandering thoughts of like, what do you think about fill in
Right.
blank? And then we just talk about it and we explore it. And when we do that, we're able to translate that into action for our clients. Because I think that's one
Yeah.
other thing about both of us is we're about action, we're about tactics. We like to get into the nitty gritty of it all.
We do. And I think that's where that is a point of difference for us. What makes us different than others is that we don't get hung up on theory. We don't get hung up on thinking there's necessarily a right way to do anything or a right way to solve a problem. Um, everything is very customized to every client, and it's a result of we really want to step through the nuances and the details of it. And I think if I had to kind of pin down one big over, all theme of all the years of doing this work, it's just a growing appreciation and a very deep appreciation that I have, and I think we both have, for how unique every single business is, and how unique not just every business, but every website is, and every new situation is. And it's a mixture of the people who are there and the technology of how the website is built and the industry they're in, and all comes together. And, that's where, even though we've had clients kind of in multiple clients in the same industry, or, kind of sharing other similar qualities, they're all different. They're all unique. And that is where you and I both have that appreciation for that. And we do dig into what are the nuances, what are the complexities for each client, and treat that as a unique thing, and try to understand not just, oh, okay, they need this because everybody needs that, but really understand, no, what do they actually need? Is that appropriate for them? And that is a result of, both of us kind of trying to dig into, those details, and not just making some broad sweeping assumptions about, what things ought to look like.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. Um, and so I guess kind of with that, there are a million more questions that people probably have about who we are, what we do, what our backgrounds are. But hopefully, this gives everybody just a little bit of a taste of some of the more details, the kind of origin story of where we came from.
And a better insight into maybe our personalities as
Yeah,
well.
maybe just a
Uh,
little bit, which is
exactly. Well, we will leave it here. Yeah, if you have other questions about us, or we don't like talking about ourselves too much. So if you have questions about technical SEO in particular, or AI search, do let us know. You can email Andrea at Elementive.com. You can email me at Matthew@Elementive.com. We're happy to talk about us, I guess, but we're also really happy to talk about your situation with SEO and how we can help you out. So if you need any help, please do let us know. If you like this video, want to see other videos from us, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.